Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, episode 93. Chris, welcome to a beautiful California day.
Yeah.
What is it, like 74 degrees right now? We're in the outside studio L.
Outside
OL.
Studio L. The thermometer on the backyard wall here shows 60 degrees in the shade.
Yeah, I know it was 74 in San Jose today.
This is ridiculous.
And then the rest of the country's like freezing their ass off with no power.
We're recording on February 22nd.
If you are listening to us from those cold states right now, apologize.
I sure hope all of our friends in Texas are doing okay.
I know. It's pretty severe, man. They're not used to weather like that. And then 4 inches of snow in Louisiana.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's crazy. The world's gone mad.
All the rednecks are crying in their big Chevy trucks.
Maybe this will maybe this will flush out the COVID. Maybe this weather would just flush out the COVID. Be gone.
In all seriousness, with regards to the weather, hopefully everybody's doing okay. I know there's been some tragedy, but everybody gets out of it stronger. That's great. So
yeah, pretty crazy. But anyway, so here we are, episode 93, and this is our KOH wrap-up episode 2 weeks later.
Well, it took that long for us to digest everything.
I don't want to let go of it, so this is good. This is helping ease the pain of not being on the lake bed.
What's that when you're
detoxing? I'm detoxing right now.
Detoxing.
Yeah, it's a slow process. I've been looking at pictures and video and stuff and editing things, and it's been great. And then all the KOH content we got down at the lake bed was incredible.
Yeah.
You and I, we hit up Shearer and Bailey Cole right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we had Matt Howell and Amber.
We've got a ton of content to go over, but we have a few items we want to get into before we did that.
Well, I know, but yeah, I mean, it was just go.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, when we got there, it was set up camp, and then, like you said, just go.
So we were releasing 2 episodes a week.
That's right.
We're going to have our 2 episodes this week.
That's right.
And then that'll be the wrap on KOH. We'll still talk more about it, but not in... This is our last in-depth, I guess you could say.
Right. Well,
then we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program.
We'll get back to our regular. We'll talk about wine and whiskey.
We do need to talk about wine, and I got something about that little Easter egg for another episode.
And chow, but yeah, kind of talking about KOH, but more importantly, Ultra 4 racing as a whole, because it doesn't end. I mean, KOH is kind of the king of the hill. It's the big one, the big dog of the year. It kicks off the year with
the King of the Hammers.
King of the Hammers, baby. But I'm trying to come up with a word for it, but I'm not working it. So
you need more bourbon.
I need more bourbon. But anyway, because I mean, what's next is you have the race in Moab.
Yeah, Moab and Easter Jeep Safari that was canceled, but it's back on.
It's back on.
So
lots of stipulation. Yes,
psych.
Maybe not. Well, you know what? It needs to happen. I mean, come on, people.
Well, it does. And anyway, so hopefully that does. And I know Ultra 4 Jones is headed there, and so is Amber Turner.
Oh, she is.
So I'm thinking of flying out there just to support those two.
Hashtag Jason Green money.
Well, no, I got to find somewhere to stay. So if anybody knows where, I just need a couch or something to stay or whatever. Maybe I just bring a tent. Just
you have a
pitch
tent.
a tent in the middle of.
You know, pitch your tent.
Pitch a tent in the Gazelle in the middle of downtown
Will the Gazelle
Moab.
fit in the overhead bin?
I don't think so. It barely fits in a CJ5.
Right on.
So, anyways, okay. Well, we got to get a couple shout outs here first.
Yeah.
Since we have been doing all these interviews and stuff, and trying to get caught up with the other part of the world, the other rest of the 99% of the world. It's not KOH. Reality. I sent off some stickers today to Reed Underwood.
Yeah.
So Reed has a rare skin disease, EB. I'm going to butcher this name. Maybe not. Eddie Mullis.
Okay, just stop there.
Bullosa.
Yikes.
Well, one is my bad writing, and then so it is. His skin is just, it's easily like just touching his skin can cause a bruise.
Really?
It causes it, yeah, and it's terrible.
Wow.
I was reading up on this stuff. So, anyways, he's collecting stickers for his, little battery operated Jeep.
Right.
And so I found out about Reed's story through Ultra 4 Jones, and so one of our listeners reached out to Ultra 4 Jones to say, hey, looking for some stickers, and then I was talking to Ultra 4 Jones, and he goes, hey, did you see this post about Reed? And I said, no, and then I looked into it, and then boom, here we are. So if you want to send some stickers to Reed, you can go to the IG page.
That's okay, good.
And it's crawling, so CRAWLING _ 4 FOR _ Reed REID. So crawling for Reed is the IG.
Cool.
And you can DM them for an address to send some stickers to.
I'm gonna follow him right now.
Yeah, go and follow him on the old IG there. But yeah, I threw some bonus stickers in there. I put a snail trail and a morphlate and some dirtbag stickers and I think polyformans. I don't know. I just had a bunch of stickers there sitting on my desk, so I just took whatever I had and shoved it into an envelope, wrote a nice little note, and hope it finds him well. So, anyways, check that out. Crawling _ 4 FOR _ Reed REID. So, shout out to Reed there.
Cool.
And then another one here, another great cause going on from Miranda Shirley.
Yes.
So, we got to know Miranda better down there at KOH. Sweet, great gal, and she puts up with Levi, so apparently she's very strong. But anyways, I love her IG page. She's very active on there, and she's putting together these chemo care bags. So people that are going through chemotherapy, and I guess she's been part of this fundraiser for a bit. And so they're looking for, obviously dollar donations, things that they can put in this care bag. If you want to help her out with that cause, again, DM her. She's Miranda, MIRANDA .L.Shirley, SHIRLEY. So Miranda.L.Shirley, and you can DM her, or you can go onto her email account there, slide into her email account.
Oh, there you go.
And it's Miranda, MIRANDA .Lynn. So LYNN .Shirley, SHIRLEY @gmail.com.
All right.
So either way, you can get a hold of her that way, and she would be more than happy to receive any monetary donation towards that cause, and then you might have some, something that chemo patients would definitely brighten their day and enjoy. So those are the two things going on between Reed and Miranda there. Little public service announcement, if you will, but some two great causes to brighten some people's days that
for sure
are in some unfortunate predicaments there. So. With that, what you got? Anything else before we get into to deep KOH recap here?
Well, I wanted to mention some business here. We have 3 new patrons.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah!
Isn't that cool? I mean, people just keep lining up to give us their money.
So, I hope they're getting, feel like they're getting something out of it here. We're trying. We're pumping out a ton of content right now. The Old Elk Flask that went out in the wild have been very well received.
Yep.
I know. I saw a few of them on the lake bed, and one worked its way back into my buggy, which was great. Was our patron Brian?
Oh yeah,
our buddy Mr. Dittmer there. So Tom and I went out, to follow Ultra 4 Jones. During the little pre-run on some trails, and Tom grabbed Brian's soft cooler to throw into the buggy, with some refreshments, and we stopped, and I look in the side pocket, and there's our Old Elk Flask that had made for him.
The Old Elk Flask.
Yeah, and I forget, what does his say on it? Shit show. Shit show. That's what it said on his. And there happened to be some like apple pie based liquid in there. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
And it was ice cold. It was delicious. So anyways, very, very cool seeing those out in the wild. So the patrons on that $20 level, Old Elk Club, as we call it.
Yep.
And then we've got some more, I guess, to make up. I understand we got a couple people that have you can prepay for each tier now for the year,
right? For the year, and you get 2 months free.
You get 2 months free. Is that how it works? So at the $5 level, so instead of $60,
it's $50
and some change or something. Right. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So because I know we had some people reach out to us and say, hey. We want to do this patron thing. I don't want my credit card getting hit every month. Can I just make one payment? And apparently that was an option.
Right.
And you enabled that. So that is an option now on Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/Wheeling Wine and Whiskey,
right,
you can find us. You can, of course, go to our webpage, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, and click that link there. And boom. We would be happy to have you as a patron, and
all this money goes towards helping with produce the show and equipment.
All this equipment that Chris keeps buying. You haven't bought anything this month, have you? That I don't know about?
No, but we have to pay. We have to renew our domains.
Oh my God! See, it's just this evolution.
It never ends.
No,
but this is the way we deliver the content to our listeners,
right.
And it's necessary,
and it's greatly appreciated. So any dollar valuation there that you can help out is great. And we have been putting out some new patron content. So if you are a patron, access that, and I think there's some new jokes there and
new jokes,
stuff,
and there's going to be a rant
and a rant. So
several rants.
Chris is fired up too. He's been pent up rants.
So
all right,
really. So I finally got this the screen up on our new patrons. We actually have 4 new patrons we have to shout out. So we've got
nice.
Good friend of ours, Ira. He's one of our new patrons.
Right on, Ira.
Ira money, baby.
He yes, but did he donate a couple grand or what?
Well, he's a lifetime
patron. I love it.
And he's actually helped. He's in contact with our mechanic and pilot for our jet.
I was going to say, so he's the one that's going to make this jet fly again.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ira.
Perfect, because we're going to need it, because apparently you're going to need to get to Moab.
Yes, exactly.
And then Crandon,
Crandon for sure. Yes, yes. Need a plane to Crandon.
So Ira, thank you, appreciate it. Next in line, we have a gentleman named Craig, and certainly appreciate your patronage. That's awesome. He signed up in February, so he's eligible for we can talk about the next.
Okay.
The element thing here in a moment.
Yes.
And then we have Matt. Is also a new patron in February. And rounding that out, we have a gentleman named Jason.
I like him already.
So anyway, that's super cool. We really appreciate all of our patrons, the ones that have been on for a while, and of course the new ones. We definitely appreciate all of you.
It's not much. Jason Barry, is it?
Maybe.
Oh.
Your new buddy?
My new best friend. My brother from another mother. Next to John there. Holy smokes. I'm pretty sure we were separated at birth.
Well, there you go.
We're
brothers you never knew you had.
We became fast friends at KOH, and then went met him up in Tahoe for snowmobiling and skiing. So although he's a snowboarder, get away from my bourbon.
So. Get away.
Oh, the dog wants the bourbon. It's so good.
It's not really bourbon. It's
no. We're going to talk about that in a second. All right, so thank you guys so much. The new patrons, 4 new patrons there.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Awesome.
Very cool.
And it is helping pay the bills. Now we got to figure out, we got to make this thing a business, a LLC or something. I don't know. This thing's growing.
The tax man's knocking at our door.
And then we owe Johnny a ton of cash for all the schwag that we handed out at KOH. So
that's right.
We should talk about that real quick, because Johnny did hook us up.
He did.
5x5, so 5 foot by 5 foot, 2.
Oh my God!
Of these banners that they're cloth, but it's impregnated.
Oh, wait a minute!
Yeah, the banners.
It's pregnant.
They're impregnated. Yes, the ink is impregnated into the fabric. Easy there, cowboy.
Oh boy.
So, anyways, they looked great.
They did.
So we had one in camp, which was great up on the Easy Up, and so people that walked into our camp knew that, hey,
They knew right away. This was Wheeling Wine and Whiskey Camp.
Yeah, and Amber Turner Camp and Climax Off-Road Racing Camp and the Side-by-Side Wrecking Crew Camp. And, yeah, it went on and on. There was so many different entities.
It was the Shit Show Camp.
The Mudsuckers. There was a lot of different clubs and race teams in our camp, which was just an absolute blast.
I think some Mad Hatters were in there, too.
That was part of the Side-by-Side Wrecking Crew.
Oh, Side-by-Side.
Yeah, Craig.
Okay.
So anyways... And then he made these cool buffs, which are always necessary, and we've always worn them at KOH because of the dust and wind and stuff. And so he made some nice navy blue and gray buffs for us. And then he brought down some extra hats and beanies. And then, of course, the magnetic koozies 2.0.
Yes.
So those worked out great. Still not 100% where I want to see it be.
No. Well, we're going to maybe a magnetic koozie 3.0.
They look awesome and they stick. I'm afraid the next version is going to be like you're going to need like one of those bearing pullers to pull it off your rig, you know.
The Binford 9000 Binford 9000 magnets.
It's going to go from one extreme to the other, but they work.
Winch to
these work really well. Super heavy duty, nice material. So
they're good insulators, and
we handed out a ton of koozies. I mean, I was handing those things out like mini candy bars at Halloween, man. Everybody that was running across this and stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Is that why your truck just got repossessed?
Yeah, probably. They don't stick to aluminum. I don't know why.
Well, because aluminum's not ferrous.
Oh, is that what it is?
Not Ferris Bueller either.
No, not Ferris Bueller. Bueller.
All right.
So amongst the other schwag was Old Elk.
Yes.
So, continued working with Old Elk here, and so it was touch and go right before KOH. Finally made contact, and they overnighted us 75 of the ice molds, the rubber ice molds.
Yes, the coveted ice mold.
And it's like a little bit smaller than a tennis ball, definitely bigger than a golf ball size.
Yes.
And it makes a beautiful rock to put in your highball glass for your whiskey.
Heck yeah.
And it's got the, image or the shape of the Colorado Rockies, and it says Old Elk on it and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it's funny because you throw these things out and they go, is this a dog toy or something, And I'm like, no, it's an ice mold. And they go, oh, cool.
You drink bourbon? Now I do.
So those of you that got a coveted ice mold from Wheeling Wine and Whiskey and Old Elk, please put it on IG and tag us.
Take a picture
tag
of
Old
it.
Elk.
Take a picture of it with your drinks.
Enjoying it. Just don't pour, White Claw over it or something like that, because that'll be null and void, and you will have to send that ice ball mold back to me.
That's right.
Fireball.
We'll put it to good use.
Fireball need not apply either, so, But, a nice Old Elk bourbon over the top of that. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Whatever your pleasure, but just if it's Fireball or White Claw, don't even bother sending or hashtagging us on that.
Just no. and don't buy the box of what's that stuff? A Fireball. The Fireball box that I see. Did you see that picture I sent out?
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's like boxed wine, but it's a box of Fireball.
I deleted it right away. I've seen buckets of Fireball shots at... who was it that was down there that had Fireball shots? A ton of them.
I don't know. Somebody at the campfire one night when we got back from Ultra Ford Jones camp, he was cuddling it with a bottle of Fireball.
Oh, yeah. Not good. It's just the uneducated is all that is. Once they grow up and they'll realize what good bourbon's all about and whiskey.
What are you holding there?
So Old Elk also gave us stickers.
Yes, they did.
So we handed out some nice 4-inch round Old Elk stickers as well. So we had lots of schwag abound, and the word got out because it was in my camper, and people came into camp and like, hey, how's it going, Jason, Chris, whatever, and then, hey, let's go into your camper for some bourbon and schwag. So
that's right.
We had how many bottles of Old Elk did we pour? Well, you were there. You were there till Wednesday morning,
right? And I drank a bottle before I left.
Yes, of rye, Old Elk rye.
That's right.
Which I don't think I got any of that. Maybe one little finger or two, I think, one night. Yeah, so
Christina had some.
Oh, of course, Jonathan. Yeah, you're sharing it with everybody else, but
I figured you had at least 2 of those.
So we had weeded as well. Johnny brought a bottle of weeded. I had a bottle of weeded, and then I had 6 bottles of the regular straight bourbon. Old Elk.
I think Code had a bottle,
and
too.
Code had a bottle. He had a high-end bottle.
I think he
didn't have rye. He had wheat.
He was wheat.
He had straight wheat. So anyways, between the people that visited our camp, and it was cool because a lot of people, we've become synonymous with Old Elk now.
Yeah.
And so it's like they see us, and especially if it's, after hours and around the campfire, they're like, hey, let me try this Old Elk. So everybody that tried it liked it.
Absolutely.
So it is that good. So if you haven't had it yet, go find it. But I was pleased that they sent us a few bottles, and we were able to sample once again here at KOH and turn some people onto some good bourbon, and their lives for the better. Get them away from the Fireball and the White Claws and this
Of course,
pretend whiskey
hit them in the pocketbook too.
That's right,
the wallet, because they're buying the high quality stuff.
Yeah, but anything in life that's worth doing costs a little bit of money.
I know, and you're the epitome of it.
Well, there you go. So, drive a Ford.
Okay, perfect. So we did kind of allude just a moment ago that if you're kind of mentioning our new patrons and all of our patrons, but we want to just do a quick mention that the Element Fire Extinguisher giveaway is still going and expires pretty soon. We're looking at, I think, 6 days left.
Yeah, so when this podcast comes out, I believe it is 6 days.
5 days. It'll be 5 days.
It's 5 days from when this podcast comes out on
That's
Tuesday.
Right. So we're giving away two Element
Not
50
one,
fire extinguishers, and Jason Hussman, Hustlenuts, has donated 2 holders or mounts for
exactly
to be included in the giveaway. So super thank you to Jason for that.
Yes, thank you, Hustlenuts. And then so I got to do another post on IG.
You do
to remind people, and that was the February 1st post.
Correct.
It was on February 1st. If you go back to
February 2nd.
Well, it was 2nd. Yeah, that's right. I did post it on the 2nd. I was a day late and $1 short on that one.
50
tried.
Short.
We were down in the desert.
Yeah, well, in the morning cellular service was pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, go check that out if you haven't. You tag. You need to like Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, like Element Fire Extinguisher, and then tag 3 friends. So super easy to get in and get you. Well, with Hussman's mounts, that is easily a $240, I'd say $235, $240 retail.
Definitely over $200.
Nothing. That's
That's awesome.
Better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Absolutely, and you can put a fire out with.
And you can use that stick to stir the fire and then put it out. Okay, all right. Let's. There we go. We got all the business stuff taken care of, I believe. So let's get into the recap, and I'm going to let you start because you were there for the first part of the week, and I was there for the whole week. So I'll fill in any blanks that you missed there in the first part.
Well, I don't want to get into it. I mean, we're going to not.
I want every nook and cranny detail. I want everything. What time you got up? What time you went to bed? From that start to finish of your day. Let's go.
Let's just talk about the adventure to the adventure to get there. I mean, that was
an adventure. It was good.
It was awesome. We decided we had to be there relatively early on Friday because we had commitments. We had commitments Friday night.
Shear and Bailey.
And if we left Friday morning, you know how things with the weather being weird, it was it would have been bad. So anyway, we all left Thursday afternoon, evening.
So Georgia boy, Jack, you and I.
Jack, yeah, right. The four rigs, and our rally point was going to be at Harris Ranch.
Correct.
And boy, I'll tell you what, driving from Livermore down I-5 through that atmospheric river monsoon freaking. I mean, I've never seen rain that hard before.
It was dumping. It was absolutely dumping, and the buggy was completely open.
Right.
So, the day before, I bought a tarp, covered the seats the best I could with garbage bags, and then put the tarp over the seats and the dash and stuff, and then wrapped up my ham radio good because everything's exposed. It's just going to it's just like taking it through the car wash.
Driven water.
Yeah. So I'm proud to say that it stayed bone dry.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, the seats were not squishy when I got in it the next day, so that was good.
That's a plus. That's a plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I there was a couple moments during the drive, I was a little scared. I'm like slowing down, and big rigs are blowing by me at 70 miles per hour. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't. I couldn't see.
And you weren't towing.
I wasn't towing.
Yeah, try towing.
No, I know.
That mess.
I mean, if I was towing, I'd have been doing like 50 miles an hour.
Well, you got to dodge, so you're used to doing that anyways.
Perfect. What is that squealing? So, anyway, you got to Harris Ranch, and I don't know, it was just after dark, and went to the Shell station and paid an extraordinarily high amount of money for fuel. Holy moly! And then they have that truck stop that's over just next to it, between the gas station and the freeway, and I scoped that out. I was like, oh, let's check it out. It was loud. Big rigs were moving around.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And then I popped over to the parking lot between the restaurant and the hotel to scout that area out, because I've read that that's totally legit for RVers to park there overnight. So I went over there. It was super quiet. There were 2 other rigs, but they were on the other side of the parking lot. I'm like, I'm going to park here. I gave you all the heads up by the phone and said, hey, this is where I'm at.
You went and got our dinner?
Got dinner. Georgia boy showed up, and he grabbed some fuel and propane, and we grabbed dinner, and then waited another hour and a half for you and Jack to show up. And then we had a little bit of a party in the parking lot. And then everybody bedded down, and
I had a bit of a delay because I had everything loaded, ready to go, and for the life of me, the day before, I could not find the water fill for my tires to connect to the hose. So I was just searching high and low, and it just drives you nuts when you're trying to find something that you have. And there's like 2 main places that I would have put it, and that's one in the pocket of the buggy, one of the pockets in there.
That's where I would have looked.
Yeah, and that's where I thought it was. And I'm like, I wasn't worried about it. And then the day before, I'm like, I better grab that out and get it ready. Couldn't find it. And I'm like, crap. Okay, well, then the other spot, I was thinking like in one of the drawers of my camper that I keep all kinds of miscellaneous stuff, because I know I brought it with me to Trail Hero.
Right.
Just in case I needed to fill tires again, I broke a bead, something, I like to have it with the buggy or with the camper.
Sure.
Can't find it. I'm tearing it totally apart. Nothing. And so I started looking through my toolboxes and my workbench, and anyways, couldn't find it. So it's 10 o'clock the night before we're leaving. I go online, find it at O'Reilly of all places, and I'm like, okay, they have it in stock, and it said it would be at the store by like 9:30 in the morning, and this is 10 o'clock the night before. So I'm like, okay, right on. So I went and ordered it online. It's a freaking $6 part or something. It's an adapter. And so I'm like, okay, great. Well, sure enough, I got a text saying that it is there at the store. And I'm like, okay, right on. So I went and picked it up. And then, of course, that's one thing I had to do. Once it was on the trailer, I had to, release the tie downs and then put it on jacks and get the tire. It's a process, especially when it's on the trailer. So that's why I was and raining. I was in my rain suit while I'm putting water in. Anyways, I'm glad I did, because
neighbors are probably looking at him. What is this guy doing?
They already know that I'm crazy. They look at all the stupid things I do at the garage. So anyways, but that's why I was late. But it didn't. It worked out great because you were able to get us our dinner, so we didn't miss dinner that night.
I had reservations for your camping spot and everything set, so it was all good.
It was nice. Thanks for paving all the road there. Yes.
So Harris Ranch, just shout out to them. They're super cool about RVers parking in that parking lot between the hotel and the restaurant. They even have, I've never seen security patrol like this before.
every 5 minutes.
It had to be 5 minutes. They were just, and I flagged the dude down. I'm like, hey, just want to let you know we're going to be here for. He's like, hey, it's totally cool. We're
leaving early.
He's like, you don't need to tell me. I know what you guys are doing. Just don't leave a mess. I'm like, no, we won't.
Nope.
So, but yeah, if you're on your way, if you're tired and you're on your way out down the I-5 going from here to there or everywhere or whatever, you're more than welcome to stop at Harris Ranch.
Yeah. So that worked out good. So then we woke up early next morning, dark 100, and headed out. And
I made you coffee.
You did make coffee. Thank you. You did make coffee.
My new French press.
Yes, wasn't that nice?
Well,
are you converted now?
I'm converted, but I gotta master the thing. I mean, there's
a little bit of an art. You want the water temperature around 200, 195, I think. Something is like the ideal. So you don't want it boiling at 212.
Yep.
So just under boiling, and then well, this isn't the coffee podcast, so we won't get into it. But that was a nice. You needed, life's too short to drink shitty coffee, and that's what you were drinking every morning,
wine or anything. Yeah, no.
And I had to solve that for you this Christmas. I'm like, I got to get him a Fish Fits, and then your stupid. I can't even pronounce it, but they're the 3-letter sporting goods store that all the yuppies go to. It starts with an R and ends in an I, and they are so anti-off-road. I can't even pronounce the middle letter, but. You had that stupid cup
they're gone
for years that I put black tape, electrical tape over to cover it up, and then you still used it up until this year.
Yeah, that's right.
So it takes a while, but I converted you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Got up, got coffeeed, and hit the road.
Yeah, that was a damn good cup of coffee too. That lasted me all the way down to the Tehachapi's.
Ooh, Tehachapi's. Yeah. We were going to get a little bit of an earlier start that morning, but we decided to get a little later start because we wanted to make sure we avoided snow. There was a chance of snow in the Tehachapi's.
We were super concerned about snow over the Tehachapi's because Derek Miller, Derek with a welder, D Mill with a welder, he got stuck for like 12 plus hours waiting for the pass to open, a couple days before. And I'm
been there, done that.
Luckily, we hit a great window. It did snow that night.
Right.
And it rained almost all night while we were at Harris Ranch. So woke up the next morning. It was dry. Well, it wasn't raining.
It wasn't
Ground
raining.
was wet. But freeway was dry, and we monitoring, chain control and stuff, or is the pass even open? Because they don't do chain control; it's either open or closed.
Right. Well, two of the rigs that were with us were just RVs. So we had Kobe or Georgia Boy and Jack were just.
It wasn't going to happen. If so, I was like, okay, and boom. It was open, and we had there was snow. It was white around there. It was pretty cool driving through, and a little bit of snow on the side of the road. So
it was definitely cold.
We got over the Tehachapi's, and once we got over the Tehachapi's and pulled into that Love's truck stop, I was like, okay, we are on the home stretch now, boys.
Oh yeah, no, it's an easy hop, skip, and a jump from that point.
Yeah. And
all
so
you gotta do is take a COVID test, and you're in.
Drug test and COVID test.
Anyway,
test.
That's going too far ahead.
So then we got a quick bite to eat. I grabbed a Subway sandwich because I thought that sounded way better than McDonald's to me. And some of you guys, had to get your Egg McMuffins and stuff and cup of coffee, and so then we were getting ready to leave, and I guess the guy recognized my buggy.
Yep.
And he goes, hey, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. And so Kobe's like, yeah, Jason's right there. And so ran in the camper and grabbed some stickers for Rudy. He was pitting for the 4861 crew out of Washington there. So that was pretty good. So shout out to Rudy. Yeah, man. Yeah, they looked, they were, they had to go through snow and all kinds of stuff to get just to that point. So we thought we were on the home stretch. They were really on the home stretch.
They're like, yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
Love Boone Road.
Boone Road. So anyways, so then I guess the rest of the drive was pretty uneventful down there, luckily. I mean, no issues.
Well, other than you finally had to call me when we were pulling into Barstow. Hey, you okay back there, Chris? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What's up? It's like, you're not answering the radio. It's like, well, you guys aren't talking.
No, we were talking away.
I guess I had bumped my ham radio head unit there and knocked it off frequency. I
thought you were just really entrenched in some of our past episodes in the podcast or something. Or
well, I was listening to actually the Talent Tank. Shout out to Wyatt Pemberton and his show.
Oh, there you go.
I was listening to the Jason Shearer episode.
Oh yes, you were getting updated on Shearer content.
That's right.
Okay, good for you. Doing a little homework,
doing a little research.
So yeah, that was a great episode.
It was.
Yeah, Wyatt does a great job with those interviews. So Unfortunately, we didn't get to meet up with him down there. We were trying, but it is so... Unless you have an exact place and time...
He's afraid of us.
...to meet somebody, it's so... I'll try and see if I can find you guys Tuesday night after the Ultra 3 race, or I'll go over here, or I'll be in the pits, just come look for me. It doesn't work. There were so many people that I wanted to see that I didn't. There was people I didn't even expect to meet that I met that was super cool.
Right.
It just, it's such a big area and so many people that it's difficult. But anyways, we digress. So we made it to the lake bed, to Boone Road.
To Boone Road.
Made it to the front gate there, and you had to do a little swab.
Yep, I had to shove that stick up my nose until I punctured my brain. And boy, I tell you what, I had a test done prior, but I think it was back in August. And Kaiser did the test,
okay.
So I didn't have to do it myself. But this time I'm like,
you had to do it yourself.
And
look at my brain.
It's like, that was pretty damned uncomfortable. But anyway, I did it, and my test was negative, which was great. So I wandered over to the registration.
I'm pretty
tent.
Sure everybody's test was negative.
I think you're right.
I think he bought a shit ton of negative.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I digress.
I didn't hear anybody that tested positive. But anyway,
I heard a rumor that were a few. But anyway, whatever. So I wandered over. I got my credentials and blah blah blah. Sticker for the camper, and I walk out, and Kobe's walking around, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I can't do it. I'm like. Dude, seriously, you were in the freaking army. You like shot at people, and you know how to kill and stuff.
You've been shot at, for God's sake.
And you're not gonna. You can't stick a swab up your nose. It's like, just man up, dude, and do it. So he's like, he kind of wanders off. It was like,
because you did have the option to go to camp, because you didn't need a COVID test to get into BOM land there.
Right.
It's just to get into Hammertown. So you could get your test, administer it at the comfort of your camper or camp or Gazelle tent, whatever you got, and then go over to gate 2 and then present it, and then you'd get your blue armband to get into Hammertown. So anyways.
So anyway, he finally did it, and because he was holding up the program.
He was. We were waiting. I'm ready to go. I was in and out. I had my antibodies certification and walked in and walked out. I hit it at a perfect time, because when I came out, there was a pretty good line.
There was starting to form when I walked in.
Yeah, there was like 30 people in line.
When I was
all
done,
6 feet apart with mask on.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we got through that, and then we caravanned in, and we were met up by Dolly.
Dolly did a personal escort and the V-Cross.
And the V-Cross
back to camp,
to camp.
That's a nice welcoming. It's just, you're just super excited to get on the lake bed, and then, then the next anticipation is, okay, getting to camp.
Because, you could get a little bit lost.
Yeah. I had GPS coordinates, but it's nice because you could take different roads to get to that same point.
Exactly.
And some roads are better than others. Some are not Dodge friendly.
Or diesel pusher friendly.
No, and then we had that huge diesel pusher with about 3 inches of ground clearance. So
I was like, whoa. Anyway, but Dolly, and just so you all don't remember, if you don't remember, Dolly is Amber's mom. Super sweet lady.
Yeah.
And the organizer and the chieftain of the whole operation there. That's right. So I was super sad to leave. We're not really jumping ahead, but they were tearful. She was tearful when I said, I got to go.
They were tears of joy, Chris. They really were.
They might have been.
Joy that you're finally
getting rid of that guy. We're making more space for the cool people. Anyway, whatever.
You were taking up prime real estate.
I was.
She kept asking me, when's Chris leaving? And I said, I think, I talked him into Thursday. And she goes, well, see if you can get him to leave Wednesday now. So, no, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. Dick. Anyway, so yeah, we arrived at our designated camping location for the week.
Right.
And, everybody jumps out, and there's a whole bunch of high-fiving and fake hugging and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to do that.
Right.
And, trying to figure out where we're going to situate ourselves.
Huge area they had flagged off. I think it was Eric and Dolly flagged off.
4 or 5 acres.
It had to be. It was over an acre. I know that. It was incredible. And it worked out great. So we figured out, okay, the main thing was like, where's kitchen to go? And I knew Tom was coming, and he has the tent for the kitchen and stuff. And I was like, and he's very opinionated where things go in camp.
Is he?
How close things are to different things, and yes,
I've never noticed.
No, you haven't noticed. So I'm like, okay, I want to be up here with my camper. I think the tent should be up here for the kitchen, and then Dolly's like, hey, I'd like the tent for the kitchen to be right next to the RV because. We want our campers nearby because we're constantly pulling out, utensils and, hey, Jason, you got this. Hey, you got a foil. You got the extra plates. You got whatever. Yeah, it's all right here in the camper, and I didn't want to walk a country mile, which it would have been if I camped down below.
Well, look at Kobe. I mean, he was
and Brian was driving his side-by-side from his camper back up to eat breakfast in the morning.
So was Olson.
And Olson was driving his Jeep cross camp. That's how big our camp was. It was awesome. We had our own zip code.
And his engine was warm by the time he got here.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got that. Tom came in, after a couple beers and waited for him. Boom, he drove in, and then we figured it out, got everything set up that night, which was great. And then we went, got our podcast gear together and our notes, and ran over to the Bailey Cole Jason Shear pit area, which was prime location right
Rock
at
Royalty Racing.
Yeah, Rock Royalty Racing right there at the corner of in the start line.
At the corner basically. Of Mayhem and Chaos?
Pretty much. And then we walk in, so we're looking for them, and they're not there.
No.
And we had a time.
Yep.
And so I called Colette that, organizes this stuff, and she goes, they're out pre-running. They'll be in. Well, then in came Bailey.
Right.
And so we were chatting with him, and then he says, okay, I'll call Shear. So he calls Shear and then says, yeah, I'm on my way. And so we got things set up in the tent, and then Mackenzie was there.
Right. Met Mackenzie for the first time.
Yeah, she's
cool.
really the brains of the operation.
She's a sweetheart, too.
And then met her dad.
Yes.
The Dusty Drone, Alan. So that was super cool. So
He's got quite the operation over there.
Oh, that's so cool, man! It was great. Mackenzie took us into the trailer to see her dad set up for all the drones and charging batteries and everything, and it was super cool. And then plus his, I don't even know. I don't want
Volkswagen.
Yeah, I was going to call it a Baja Bug, but this thing's like it's a freaking trophy truck, but it's a Baja Bug. Is basically what it is. This thing's badass. You check out his IG page, Dusty Drone. And man, it is cool. So we got to chat with him, and then
well, it was cool because we wandered into the pit area, and we were just kind of talking, and he's like, hey, you guys wheeling wine and whiskey? And I'm like, yeah, we are. He's like, I recognize your voices.
Yeah,
your show.
It was interesting this year. Yes, he was the first person to make that comment while we were down there. And then, it was funny because as we're walking around Hammertown and, talking to people, whatever, and then people would turn around and go, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey? And it was pretty surreal to be recognized by the voice. Luckily, they don't recognize us by our faces, because that caused nightmares.
They'd run away, but especially looking at me. But
yeah, so Dusty Drone is his IG page.
Right.
DUSTY DRONE. There's no spaces, no underscores, nothing. So check out Alan's page there and go give him some likes and follow him because he's got a badass Baja Bug himself and does some cool drone stuff.
Oh, hell yeah, he's the real deal as far as flying a drone. I mean, he's not this. I kind of bought a drone and I just was figuring it out. No,
he
knows how to do that shit. That's awesome.
He actually did last year. He did. I don't know. He posted something and I go, oh, you should use that thing to clean out your gutters. And so he did. He shot a video of driving over his gutter so close that it was blowing the leaves out of his gutter. God. I'm like, well, there's a whole nother business model right there.
Well, it's interesting for sure. I mean, it was one of the things we were talking about in our brief conversation was, Teardown in Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
and how the coverage was it was a fun race to watch, but the coverage was kind of we were left for,
because of the trees.
Yeah, a lot of trees, and so he was describing is like in the future there's drones now that they can mark a vehicle somehow, like tell it to, and the drone will follow it through the racetrack, avoiding trees and other
it's insane
dangerous things. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the footage that's coming out from this drone stuff is incredible, and it's just going to keep improving.
Well, you see
the sporting events and everything, right?
Watching the footage of the drones at Cougar Buttes when I was at home, I'm just like, you got it. I mean, these freaking drones were flying down and like hovering in front of drivers' faces,
and then when we're sitting there at Tribe 16 pit and watching the drone follow the cars in the short course, and I mean, this drone is going, right behind the car, and then it'll get right in front of the car, and it's flying under the arch. I mean, it's like, dude, this is crazy stuff.
That's awesome.
I know they do drone races and stuff too. I mean, it's a whole nother deal. Anyways,
that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we got another rabbit hole we went down there, but anyway, so then
that's still Friday.
That was still Friday. It was a long day, but it was the icing on the cake was getting to sit down with Sheer and Cole there, and in front of this brand new Bronco that was right behind us.
Oh my God, yeah!
I just kept turning around. I mean, I'm looking at Bailey and Sheer, and I'm like, really? Am I sitting here talking to these two guys right now? And there's a brand new Bronco behind me. I'm like, welcome to freaking KOH. This is freaking awesome.
And drinking bourbon.
And we were drinking. Yes, we had bourbon, and then we had what else was there? Was something else being
brought wings and
the chicken wings were incredible. Somebody did some chicken wings. I don't know if that was his co-dog that did the chicken wings on the
it was
or his co-crew chief, but somebody there in the Bailey Cole camp brought over some killer chicken wings. Was it Tom and Rachel? I think it was.
Might have been.
I think it was Tom and Rachel.
Yep.
Anyways. Yes, those were memorable. And then Mackenzie brought in these cookies, individually wrapped chocolate chip cookies.
Those are.
I love my chocolate chip cookies.
Stuffed a few of those in my pocket.
So they scattered those out on the table, and I'm like, damn, I'm doing a podcast. I can't eat right now, but I was like, just slid one in front of me, so I was guaranteed at least one.
There might be one of those cookies
delicious.
In my computer bag.
Really?
So, yeah, maybe.
Wow. Yeah, those were delicious. So anyways, we were well taken care of in that camp. It was a lot of fun to get a little behind the scenes, chat with them, and then
absolutely,
of course, look at the cars up close, and it was just that was fun. So if you haven't heard that interview, check it out. That's episode 90, 91. I think it's 92 was Shirley, so I think it was 91.
I think it's 90. Yeah, it might be 91.
90, 91.
91.
It was 91.
Episode 91.
Episode 91. Check that out.
Absolutely.
There we go. Okay, so then wake up Saturday morning.
Oh my God, it was cold.
It was chilly, huh? What was it, like 20 degrees or something? 24?
No, it was 60 in my camper. 55 when I woke up, 60 when I turned
there you go.
the heater up.
Turn the heat up.
But it was
hashtag
20,
Lance Life.
It was 26 outside.
26, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was below freezing, that's for sure.
It was chilly, that's for sure.
Because you know how I knew it was cold? I didn't turn on the heater in my camper that night, and I had my double insulated highball glass. So I think it's a Yeti. It might be, I don't know, whatever. It's a knockoff Yeti, but it's double insulated, and my ice ball with the whiskey in it from the night before. The whiskey was gone. I don't know where it went.
Well, I'm sure you drank
But the ice ball was still there.
Or Lorenzo drank it.
Yeah, he could have drank it too, but it was still there.
Oh, yeah.
Still there. So it was, it stayed cool that night.
Perfect.
Ooh.
I like it. I like sleeping when it's cold.
Oh, I do. I love it.
As long as I'm warm and under my blankets, I'm a happy man.
With your teddy bear?
With my teddy bear. So, yeah. So Saturday was, we had to finish setting up camp.
Yeah.
So we had to get the tent set up. We had to get everything all set up.
We got it. We had many hands on deck. It went quick.
And get the stove set up. Basically, Stadium Kitchen was set up. And, the TV that was being put in, the internet was getting dialed in.
We had the internet provider come out for us there, KOH internet provider.
All the housekeeping that goes on. You think it's all fun and games, but there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. So, but yeah, Saturday, I believe you went out to play after a while, and I think you went wheeling, huh?
I did do a little wheeling on Saturday. It was great. Didn't break anything. It's interesting going across that desert in the whoops with 47 gallons of water in each tire.
Oh man,
in the front. It performs remarkably well, but the suspension's not happy up front at speed.
I bet not.
So I had to throttle back, which is hard to do when you know that the vehicle could do a lot better. But we get into the rocks, and then it just performed flawlessly.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, for sure.
And it's silly. It's just that thing's so much fun.
I know. I didn't do any wheeling on this trip. This COVID thing and the compromises I had to make with my spouse.
Yes.
So yeah, we're not really going to dwell on that.
So what did you do Saturday?
I not a whole lot. I just kind of vegged out. I went down to Hammertown, and I'm not really sure. I had lunch, drank, and had the campfire going because it was freaking cold.
Yes, you did keep the campfire going at camp, which was good.
And because we had plenty of firewood. So yeah, Saturday and Sunday were pretty chill days.
Right.
I know that because we had the trophy truck races were going on and the qualifying and
and that was cool because we were camped up so high that you could just look from our camp and see the trophy trucks racing by.
Oh yeah, and they were racing by.
Oh my gosh.
They go fast.
And with the choppers too. That was awesome.
Chopper, it was a super busy sky.
Yeah.
And they were flying right over our camp pretty much all day long. Which was cool. I mean, you wondered, were we getting a lot of footage of our camp on the cameras and whatnot?
Right.
I don't know. But the weekend, was just super chill.
I know we went down to that's on that Saturday afternoon. We went to Tribe 16 camp,
right,
and got to meet Matt Howe,
correct,
and Adam Shearer and the Tribe 16 crew, and super cool, down to earth people from Texas, and that Southern hospitality was alive and well. And so Amber, you listened to that episode with Matt Howe and Amber Turner. So Matt Howe is the president of
the JCF,
Jesse, yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so, and they were sponsoring Amber this year. And so part of that was getting pit support from Tribe 16. So she needed to take her car down there to get the tires swapped. And then they wanted to see the car and get familiar with it. And so we went down there, and it was so cool because Matt's got this old 55 Willys, I believe it was 55, and I mean, it's pretty much bone stock, and windshield was down, and we loaded up the four wheels and tires that Amber had because they were 37s or something, and she obviously needed 31, so we had to take them over to the Falcon booth.
Right.
So we had to drive all the way around Hammertown, back out of Hammertown, and back into Hammertown to get around the main stage and stuff because we couldn't go across the short course because of the race going on, and because Falcon was right there. We could look at it, but we had to drive out and around.
So it took you an hour to get there.
So it was like a clown car with 7 of us on, and I mean, I was sitting on the couch. It was so cool, and Matt's driving, and his son was in the passenger seat, and Amber's in the back, and all of us just popped in and went over to Falcon. But so we were hanging out in Hammertown that afternoon, and it was pretty cool, just riding through Hammertown in a old Willys Jeep with, and Matt's very well known, we're driving by the Campbell's Enterprises operation there, and Bailey Campbell was just coming in.
Oh, yeah.
In the truck, and, they said hi to each other, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That was Bailey.
She's due to pop.
She's prego.
Soon.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Yeah.
Countdown is on.
It is. But anyways, so cool. I mean, all these camps you go, just it's just you're just sitting there going. If you follow Ultra 4, it's just like, oh my God, that's so and so. Oh my God, look, there's so and so. Oh my God, it's just everybody's there, right? That's the who's who because it's the biggest race of the year. So that was Saturday. Saturday night. Did anything happen Saturday night that was out of the ordinary?
I might have gone to bed unconscious.
Yes, you did. Yes,
early.
You did.
So Sunday, I remember we went down back to Hammertown after hours, and we were going to try to meet up with Kevin Jones.
Right.
And
but Saturday night, I think that was just sitting at camp drinking night.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we were doing a good job of that.
We were
experts at it.
We were.
Trying to stay warm.
So you didn't come over to Kevin Jones' camp that night, Saturday night?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
no.
I'm looking through photos. I don't see a picture of you.
No, I wasn't, because you guys went down there. You were drinking the Rod and Hammer.
Amber and her co-dog Jason was there. Yeah, I got pictures of us with Kevin. But yeah, I don't see Chris. Yeah, we were testing out the Rod and Hammer's whiskey.
No, you came back and said it was super good, and I said
Johnny was there. Johnny was there.
What?
Yeah, because we were putting the stickers on the car.
That's right. I should have.
Yeah, you should have been there.
Well,
Chris was all stoking the fire.
Stuff. Yeah, I was stoking the fire.
You're the best damn fire ever, man. I love you, man. It's an awesome fire.
We had the fire. We had a smudge pot going. We actually had 2 fires at some point. You know, I mean,
we had smudge pot, and we had 3 fires going.
So
we had
the fire
smudge
pit,
pot
right.
from Brian. Then we had the Peter heater, and then we had the big fire pit, the Stonehenge fire pit.
That's right.
So we did party the night with Kevin Jones. I remember that, and I know I wasn't driving that night, so I don't know how I got back to camp, but I didn't have the buggy with me, so somehow I either walked or hitched a ride back to camp somehow.
Well, I don't know.
Saturday night in Hammertown.
Saturday night? Yeah. No doubt.
I remember walking by the main fire, too, and there was quite a few people there.
Yeah. Well, that was what it was like.
A couple people.
On Sunday night, it was like that. When I kind of was like, we couldn't find Ultra 4 Jones because I guess he was hanging out in Slosson's camp.
Yeah.
And
he's a big timer now. He's a baller. It's going to be just days before he stops answering my phone calls.
He's in a ghostus.
Yeah, he's been answering my phone calls, but I know it's just going to. There's a time. There's going to be like, dude, I can't talk to you guys anymore.
Yeah, you guys just don't stack up.
So then the next day, we went over to that was Sunday fun day,
race day.
Kyle came into town.
That's right.
So we went and saw Evie and talked to Kyle and stuff. So that was cool.
You did a stream, a live.
We did a live stream, of him working out some charger issues, and he was on the phone with somebody.
Did you save that?
I got it. Yeah, I believe so. I don't know. There's so much stuff on my phone right now. I'm just going through. It's crazy. Just holy smokes. So
that's where we met his sister Dahlia. I mean, it was super cool, man.
Yeah, so we did. We met his sister. We met his father.
That's right.
Was there to support him, and a super cool family. And then of course Texas Jesus rolls up. You know, good buddies with Kyle, and he's part of that Ultra 3 camp. Danny 2.0, and I mean, just the list goes on and on. This camp that's right next to us with the teepee and all the shenanigans that go on in that camp.
Funny late because he's like, he drove away. It's like, dude, that was Texas Jesus. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
like,
you didn't even know it was Texas Jesus.
And then later on, he wanders over, and you had wandered away. The buggy was parked there, and I'm sitting on the tire of the buggy, and Texas Jesus walks over and starts, talking to me about something, or Kobe and I, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool, right on, man," and whatever. And we talked for a few minutes, and then he walks away, and Kobe's like, "Who is that?" And I said, "That's Texas Jesus."
Texas Jesus. It was the Texas Jesus. He's a cool guy. Met his wife. Yeah. His dog Pickle.
Oh, I didn't meet the dog.
Yeah, dog's name Pickle.
Pickle.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like calling my dog Shithead.
Yeah.
Hey, Shithead.
Your dog just responded.
I know. Well, she is a shithead. So yeah, no, and then but the adventure of the story of Kyle just getting down to King of the Hammers.
Oh my God, poor guy!
If you don't follow him on IG, you really should, because or even Facebook. I mean, it's boy, he had. I mean, getting
only
everything loaded
a few miles
up,
out of town, he broke a spring.
Broke a spring, and then he blew tires. It was just getting there was an adventure for them, and that's the challenge of building the race car to race at KOH, but then it's like get it all loaded up, and then the challenge of getting there.
Yeah.
But that's just awesome. It's an awesome story, and if you listen to, we have several episodes where we talk with them, Will Speck. About the building of the car or the truck, and so forth and so on, and we're going to circle back, and we're going to meet up with them and get the that'll be more post race.
Yeah, I want to get Dahlia on and hear her firsthand experience of hammers from the passenger seat in an electric first time electric rig. So
I want to know if she was sitting here making the sounds.
I know one thing she was doing. Every 5 minutes she was flipping a switch for the water pump. to circulate the water through the motor and the transducer inverter.
Flux capacitor.
The flux capacitor is what I was just going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, boy.
Yes, that's right.
Nice.
So there you go. But that's going to be a great follow-up interview with them.
Yeah, so stay tuned and look forward to that one, everybody.
So Sunday... anything else on Sunday?
Then we went down to Ultra 4 Jones Pit again, and that was that. And he wasn't there, but I drank some of his rod and hammer.
Oh, that's right. We took you down in there and did that. That's right. Okay.
And then I stumbled back to camp after that.
Yeah, we left some presents. Johnny had some dirtbag clothing moose.
Yes.
Plush toys for his daughters.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I left some ice ball makers, and I don't know. I just put various shit on his car. It was pretty funny. So then the next day...
shootout.
It was, Monday. But that morning we pre-ran with Kevin Jones.
That's right.
So Tom and I did.
Right.
And that was awesome. And, I've talked about it on the other episodes there, just how crazy, Spooners and Sledge and all these crazy trails are, and just some of the roads in between, just getting to these rock trails that are off camber. And I mean, severe consequences if you slide or an engine dies, you lose your brakes, anything like that. It can get bad in a hurry out there. So, that's stuff you don't see on the TV, or it's hard, when you're watching a video or anything to see how steep something is or how off camber it is, but you get a good idea. But when you're actually in a buggy, going through that course, it's like, holy hell.
And you're just crawling, but I mean, just imagine doing it at race speed.
Exactly.
But I mean, even when we were talking with Shearer and Cole, on Friday night, we kind of brought up what their impression of the track was, or the course, the condition of the trails,
right?
And even they made the comment that they're all dug out, beat up, and overused and abused,
right?
Because of all the wreck wheeling that's been going on, probably as most people have speculated, because of COVID.
Sure,
it's like it's all the
a lot of wheeling going on, which is great.
Absolutely, So anyway, yeah,
and then shootout that night, and I tried to get you to shootout, and to my what do I want to say? I'm not...
disappointment?
Disappointment is one word. Extreme disappointment. You just dug your heels in and says, I'm not going.
Nope. There's the consolations I had to make, man.
Oh, my God. So I'm like, okay. So we fixed dinner over there. So we got over there early. I mean, at like 3:30, we were like headed over to the shootout. Our whole
chocolate thunder,
and we brought the Camp Chef stove. We brought chili, Michigan sauce, dogs, and brats, and all kinds of stuff like that. And got everything set up. I hung up a Wheeling Wine and Whiskey banner. So
yes, you did.
And then people were coming up, and I was handing out koozies and stuff and stickers. So that was cool. And then, we were eating, and we had prime seating for the shootout and the rock coronation.
Right.
The Cody Wagner first ever rock coronation event. So, we finished dinner, and of course we had our beverages and stuff there, and it was cool. And there were some people, that started fires and stuff. We had little propane warmers, the buddy heaters for the girls, so they could stay warm and stuff. I was totally fine. I had my heated jacket on, when the beanie and the whole thing, and I was totally comfortable. And so we were watching this, and the shootout was great. Not as many contestants as last year, participants, obviously, because of this whole COVID thing. But the rock coronation in between was cool.
Yes. Unfortunately,
it was a little low. So, our perspective was okay. If I stood up, I could see well. If I got on top of the buggy, I could see everything. Okay. No problem. So they, but then as they climbed up the rocks and got into some gnarly areas, you could see perfect, everybody could see that. But it, it was like, so-and-so starting, Jacob Reeves, and then all of a sudden it's like, where the hell is he? And then he pops up, and there he is climbing some gnarly rock line.
Sure.
So that was fun. I really dig the rock crawling. I don't know how it was perceived by everybody. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great idea. We didn't have very many people get stuck on the hillside or roll over. The recoveries weren't very long this year, where last year they were
on the
shootout.
The shootout,
yeah. So
I watched a lot of it on my phone.
Yeah.
At camp.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because, and then I'm listening to the radio too, and you hear Dave Cole is like, "Let's get this going. Let's get this going."
Yeah. Send him.
It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It was funny to watch it on the phone or on the screen, and then of course hear Dave Cole, yelling at his staff. Not yelling, but,
just trying to keep things going.
Rolling, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole point of having both events going on concurrently to keep the downtime at a minimum,
right?
And, but it was interesting because the rock coronation thing, it was super slow, and everybody did really well until that one spot. It seemed like everybody got wadded up in that one spot.
Well, it was gnarly.
And I don't even know if anybody finished. Did anybody finish that
on the coronation?
Yeah,
I don't. I never saw the results of that,
right?
And so I honestly don't know. I want to say.
Because if they
one
finished
driver
it,
did,
they could name it.
Sure, exactly.
Right.
But I don't know if anybody completed. They had 15 minutes or something. I think 15 minutes.
I think it was 15 minutes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was the first year. They're working out the kinks, but I thought it was a great addition.
Sure, it was cool.
I mean, anytime I could watch rock crawling and freaking 1,000 horsepower rock bouncers go up a hill side by side, that's pretty freaking cool.
Those things were badass.
Yeah,
I mean that one that Ian Johnson built, the one the curved tube buggy.
Yeah,
that thing was bad.
Yeah.
The yellow one, that was badass.
There's so many. Oh my God, just eye candy on high down there.
That's Monday.
That was anything else on Monday? So we came back to camp and
the
partied back.
Campfires were going.
Oh my God, it was perfect. So you did have the campfires going for us. So it was great. We come back to camp, and of course we're all fired up, and you're like ready to go to sleep.
No, I was drunk.
I know. You sit there just and I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? Going great. I said, okay, well, there goes your peace and quiet.
I didn't care. It was all good. I was ready for a crowd again.
We hung out and partied the night away and watched the fireworks shows and all the other
night.
stuff going on.
Fireworks every single night.
Yeah.
Every single night.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So
Tuesday.
King of the Motos race.
Yes, sir. And
I didn't go watch it.
EMC qualifying.
And then, so I was, I wanted to go back into Hammertown and spend some time in there talking to people, went back over to Ultra Fort Jones pit, and the Rock Ranger was right next door.
Right.
So went and got to see that killer frickin' Ranger.
Well, Tuesday was my last full day.
I know.
In camp or at King of the Hammers. And it was a crazy day. I mean, there was so many things going on, and it evolved super fast for you and I. I know that, like you said, King of the Motos, and then EMC qualifying was going on, and we were down at the start line when Kevin
had 11 a.m. Yeah, he was in the 11 a.m. group.
Right. So we were in Tribe 16's pit when he went off or started the qualifying lap. And he did very well.
Did really well.
I mean, there were a few cars ahead of him that left, and a couple of them never came back.
Right,
like what the hell?
Right, exactly.
And then he was back within like 2 minutes, and that was super cool. And then after that, we kind of we made our way over to his pit.
Oh yeah, and it was there. He was on cloud nine because
Absolutely.
He had rolled the day before,
right? And he's
in that same confident. I mean, in that same spot, that there was a gnarly rock wall that they had to climb up.
Exactly, yeah.
And he had rolled practicing, and he walked up there. Him and his co-driver Robert. That night after the rollover and like kind of retracing their steps, what went wrong, just to kind of clear his head. And as he said, get the monkey off his back. And then, he went out and absolutely killed it.
Yeah, he did.
And finished 32nd, I believe, for qualifying.
Okay, yeah.
I believe so.
I thought it was 12th, but maybe that changed later in the day, I guess.
Yeah, it changed. But I know it was still great.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
for
it's
sure.
better than starting in the back of the pack if you don't qualify at all.
Absolutely. No, and he
and he took advantage of that.
He certainly did, for sure. So we went into Kevin Jones' camp pit, and he carved out some time for us to sit down with him and his co-dog to record.
Yeah.
So we sat in their camper and did the interview you've already heard, episode Oh, shit.
That was bonus episode.
That was a bonus episode.
Bonus episode. One of our Thursday episodes. We're like Snail Trail, banging out 2 a week.
That's right. That's
a full-time job right there. Whew. Holy smokes!
Yeah, we need to settle down a little. My day job is starting to have high demands right now.
Yeah, so. There you go.
Anyway, it was super cool to sit down and get their story and how they're psyching themselves up for the race day, which was Friday. I wasn't there, unfortunately.
Where were you?
I was sitting at work watching the race on
a greens mower.
No, I wasn't mowing greens. I was sitting in my office watching the race on my monitor. I was working.
That's good.
So that was awesome, and then we wrapped that up, and you just made a mention about the Rock Ranger.
I got it. Yeah, so I got to give a shout out, Rock Ranger there. So, and then Rock Ranger was on the left as you were facing the pit, and then
left,
or the left. I'm sorry, and then on the right was D Mill with the welder there, Derek. And his Sequoia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool because I don't know who had the foresight, if it was Kevin or Derek had the foresight to, hey, let's combine our 2 tents.
Yes.
So they had one big tent,
right?
With all their stuff in it, and it made for an awesome, it was like damn near professional race team there.
Well,
with the way
shared
they had
resources,
that
man. It was awesome.
Yeah. So that was freaking awesome. And then we were trying to catch up with Black Mountain Racing was behind him, but every time I went over there, he was out partying or something, playing on the rocks or testing equipment or whatever. So I unfortunately didn't get to meet up with that team. But anyways, it was great. I do have to mention, Andrew, who I had met up at Sierra Trek, right?
Oh, yeah.
We told the story before. He had this side-by-side, and he broke right on Turtle Rock below Wind Chill 3. And then, anyways, he listened to the podcast, and then he's like, dude, I want to pit for Ultra 4 Jones. Called him up, and, yeah, okay, cool. Come and help out. We can use you. And he's a great mechanic. We call him AMCO now. AA.
MCO.
Beep, beep, MCO. Because he didn't change his transmission once. He changed it twice. I felt so bad coming all the way down there. Now, of course, he came down there to help Kevin, and he did. He was a great help, Kevin said. But he has this killer rock buggy that he got off the Wicks and 4-steer, and I was like, it was cool because it was going to be him, myself, and Kevin Jones pre-running on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking forward to just going wheeling with those guys and see how Andrew's buggy worked. Well, he had transmission problems, so he had to spend the day pulling his transmission, found somebody close by, transmission guy, rebuilt the tranny, and then put it back in.
Okay.
And, he finished that up on Monday, I guess. And then, so I'm like, okay, are you good? And he goes, yeah, he drove it into camp. He's like, yeah, we're good. Well, then he had problems again. Something else went wrong with the tranny. So he had to pull the tranny out again, bring it back to the guy. I forget all what the specifics were wrong, fixed it, and then got it back together. But unfortunately, it was race time, and he didn't get to do a whole lot of wreck wheelies. So Kevin's dad, I was like, I go into the pit, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Hey, have you seen Andrew? Oh, you mean AMCO? So I think his dad named him AMCO. and he's okay with it. But anyways, check out Andrew. We'll give a shout out to him. He's ACOLE 4x4. So ACOLE 4x4 on IG.
Cool.
And he just went wheeling on Fordyce.
Really?
In the snow.
In the snow. How was that?
Yeah, that looked freaking awesome.
Wow.
Looks so awesome.
That's a tough trail without snow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then Derek is D-Mill, so DMILL _ with a welders, all spelled out, WITHAWELDER. So super cool. And then Rock Ranger, which his name is Ryder. So let me look that up real quick. All right. I well, it is technically the Rock Ranger, but there's also Lenny that camped next to us. That his handle is Rock Ranger ROK.
That's right.
He's got that badass
Ranger,
green,
Ford Ranger,
green, bright green,
sided and
but
narrowed. And
the Ranger that was to the left, that Ryder, and Ryder is spelled Ryeder, so that's why I've got a cousin named Ryder that's Ryder.
So you had us all messed up.
Oh, it's just stuff, but it's Custom Chaos Racing. So if you CUSTOM CHAOSRACING, Custom Chaos Racing, all spelled out on IG. You can check out his badass Ford Ranger.
All right.
So
cool.
That's 4,600 car right there. Anyways, I mean, a ton of people there. You know, just in and around Kevin Jones's pit.
Well, he's somebody now.
He is. He's somebody. I'm just happy that he talks to us. He just texted me too.
Just a
That's
matter
cool.
of time before he won't. I'm telling you.
I know. That dream's going to be over.
So anyway, we wrapped up there with our chat with Ultra 4 Jones and his team. And like I said, we popped into Levi Shirley's pit on our way.
That's right.
I just walked in. I'm like, looking for Levi. Hey, guys, what's up? You know, super friendly. Just wanted to confirm that we were going to be in that night. And
before that, though, is our interview with Matt and Amber. So we did that interview.
Well, we right.
You had popped in to see if we could do an interview with Levi to get timing setting.
Right, to get timing. And then we went back to camp. Actually, we ended up hanging out up at the Jumbotron for a while.
We did.
Because Ian Johnson and I'm not sure who the other person in the booth was. Wasn't
Miles,
but they were doing. I guess it was qualifying still, so they were doing commentating on the qualifying. And Ultra 4 Jones, Kevin Jones, had come over because he wanted to try to get in on the
supposedly he got on the live feed, and I haven't gone back and watched that yet. But
I've made a note to do that myself.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so after a while, we split there and stopped by, and Amber Turner was working at the Cal 4 wheel booth.
Yes, she was.
Volunteering at the Cal 4.
As if she had nothing else better to do, you know? I mean, just... Well, she was nonstop.
She's volunteering, man.
Yeah.
She volunteers for KOH, volunteers for Cal 4.
It was so great.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know if she sold any tickets for the Win-A-Jeep, but did they have that drawing this weekend?
I don't know.
I think they may have. I don't know.
I don't know. I was out of town. I was skiing.
You were out to lunch.
Oh,
that's so good.
I did go out to lunch. Well,
anyway.
No, I didn't. Well, yeah, I did one day.
So,
Nevada.
Anyway, like you just mentioned, so we went back to camp, had a little lunch, and figured out what was going on, and then we needed to record bumpers for the Shearer episode.
Right.
So we were in my camper doing that, and then it's like all of a sudden, hey, we got an opportunity to record with Amber and Matt Howell. And it's like, so we kind of quickly wrapped up the bumpers for the Shearer episode, Shearer and Cole episode, and then we grabbed all of our gear and ran over to the Taj Mahal and sat down with Amber and Matt Howell and talked with them about the JCF and the whole program going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was super cool.
Great interview. If you haven't heard that, that's a bonus interview. Thursday episode.
That's right.
Last week there. So that was fun.
What do you say? We give till it hurts.
That's right. Give till it hurts. And then, we wandered into Shirley's camp. Well, you wandered into them eating dinner.
Yeah. Well,
and we covered that whole deal, so we don't need to rehash that. But you basically walked in on them having dinner.
Well, I did. Well, they were super cool. They're like, yeah, come on in. You want something to eat? And I'm like, no, we don't want to interrupt. We're just trying to let you know we're here. And that was cool. But it was funny because we drove down and we said, oh, Jason's like, or you're like, we have a few minutes. Let's stop off at check out EVE and see if we can talk to Kyle and Dahlia. So we drove the buggy down and we stopped in their camp was crickets.
That's right.
Deserted.
Yes.
There was nobody there. But your fuel pump on the buggy was screaming. And you're like, well, we got a minute here. Let me change pumps or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I changed a fuel pump in 10 minutes. No, it's a dual pump setup, so it has they're all plumbed in together. It's set up for racing, which is cool. So all I had to do, I mean, normally you'd have a switch on your dash, pump 1, pump 2. But it's a low budget operation in this operation. So I had
low budget operation.
So I only have one switch. So I had to, pull the one pump wire off and put the spare pump 2 wire in on the switch.
Right.
Yeah, it's all wired up for, the relays and everything is already set. I should have it could be a good winter project maybe to put
winter's over.
A switch, select pump 1 or pump 2. But anyways, pump 2 was a lot freaking quieter than pump 1. So
you could hear pump 1 from a mile away.
And that happened to me at Trail Hero. It was starting to whine the last day. When I was out there with the plates and stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, I hope this thing doesn't go out. And then I thought, oh, well, I got a spare pump, so I don't know if the other one worked or not. Then we were down at Hammers pre-running, and then I go, okay, this thing's making a ton of noise. It's not happy. So then I switched over to the other pump, super quiet and great. So
rest of the week, no problems, huh?
Yeah.
So we finished that up, and then we motored down to do the Levi Shirley and Miranda Shirley interview, which was super cool. Definitely check that one out. Now, I'm
glad she jumped in.
Oh, heck yeah! Did we mention that the rest of the gang that walked into the tent as we were wrapping up?
No.
It was amazing. I mean,
it was a whole entourage. I mean, it was like the who's who that came in. It was insane.
Yeah, it was like, holy moly. The Millers and
the Blylers came in and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it's like, okay, as much as I wanted to stay there and rap and have a few beers with them, I'm like, we got to get out. We've already taken enough of your time.
Exactly. But I think the Rusty Blyler took our picture.
Yeah. So then, I got to post up some of these pictures. Oh my gosh. So then the night did not stop there, Chris.
No,
because we ended up back at camp, all fired up.
Oh yeah,
because we just talked to Levi and Miranda, and we were okay, great. We get back to camp, and Kobe opens up the door to the Taj Mahal, and he's all, "Get your asses in here!"
Oh yeah, because it was
okay. Well, hang on, I gotta go get another jacket here and stuff. Get a bottle of something. So you grabbed a bottle of wine.
That's right.
I grabbed a bottle of whiskey. I go in there, and who's in there?
Steven Tyler from
Aerosmith. Oh,
Aerosmith. I didn't see him. I saw the guys from Power Tank, but yeah.
So yeah, Steve and Tyler from Power Tank were there. So they're great guys, and Steve loves his whiskey. So we did some whiskey tasting, and unfortunately Brian got a hold of the bottle and was pouring some 3, 4, 5 finger pours there.
Well, by the time I got to the bottle,
holy
it was like,
heck,
there was nothing left as I got the last splash.
Yeah, well, you killed a bottle by yourself, so I mean, don't complain.
Payback's a bitch, right? Okay.
So that was fun hanging out with Power Tank, and I know I was quite inebriated at that point. I remember kept telling Steve, you gotta focus on the side-by-side market, man. It's blowing up, and telling him how to run his business.
We'll post a picture of Jason at the campfire later.
Oh my God! Yeah,
he was sprawled. He didn't even make it into his own chair. He was sprawled.
I didn't.
No, you were falling out of the chair.
Hey, but I made it into my camper every night. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Professional.
Right.
Okay, so now we're moving on. We're almost there.
Well, that was Tuesday night, and then
Wednesday morning you got up.
Hey, I was gone.
Bye.
Threw the last few items in the truck, started her up, and I was gone. She gone.
We failed to mention that when we came back to camp after the Levi Shirley interview, the Ultra 3 race was still going on.
Oh, that's right.
And I know Dave Cole's truck was parked in our camp. There was a couple who's who vehicles that parked in the lower part of our camp because we had such big real estate. We were right across from the teepee in the Ultra 3 camp there. And so that was pretty cool. So I did peek over there briefly and saw some of the races, but then we ended up being in the camper partying with Steve and Tyler. So
did Kevin Jones ever find his dad?
I don't know if he did that night. No.
I thought Lorenzo was in one of the heats.
Right. So anyways, it was that Ultra 3 race is something. It's taken on a life of its own. It's another entity, as is that's Tuesday night at King of the Hammers, as is Thursday night is Backdoor night. Everybody knows that. So everybody knows
things
that
you must
Tuesday
do.
Night
things you must do at King of the Hammers
is Ultra 3 night.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Wednesday morning you leave.
Yep.
Everybody breathes a fresh breath of fresh air. Chris is gone.
Everybody takes a deep breath.
We sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, whatever. And they're like, okay, moving on.
It was
the
sad.
loser's gone.
It was sad. We were all sad.
Right.
So we fixed breakfast and cried in our coffee and eggs and bacon and corned beef hash and linguiça and it was rough. Fresh potatoes, red potatoes.
And I was
but then they did the Bronco reveal that day. You missed out on this.
I know.
So Tom, being a huge Bronco fan, of course, I'm a huge Ford fan. I go, hey, we got to go down and get front row to see this this unveiling.
Not everybody's perfect.
And so then we got down to the stage. We got front row. They had the Bronco Sport there that ran the oh my God, the Rebel Rally. And then they had another Bronco there that ran the Baja. So those two cars were sitting out front of the stage, and then on the stage under a black cover was the 4600 car that they're debuting for. Unfortunately, I don't know. I'm really disappointed that they didn't have it racing this year. I don't see why.
Wasn't it ready?
It was.
I thought it looked like it was ready.
It's ready, but Ford was so particular, I guess, it wasn't ready in their eyes, but they should have raced it anyways.
It's going to be a...
Because who knows if KOH 2022 is going to happen. You know, there might be another pandemic or something.
No, bullshit. Everybody's getting vaccinated. It's going to be a good thing.
So, anyways, they did the unveiling of that, and of course they had the whole Fun Haver team, the Lauren Healy Von Gittin, and then had Jason Scheer, and so of course it was done up corporate America style, which they did a really good job. They had a pre-video on the big screen of them running out in the desert and stuff side by side, and then of course, guess what? They got live helicopter footage of them coming out of the desert, coming in to Hammertown through the Ford Bronco Arch, and right into the finish line, and then come right up onto the stage and park in front. Woo-hoo. And that was super cool. So then they introduced Bailey Cole into that mix as the Rock Royalty team with Scheer, and what their Ford's plans were for the upcoming race year, and that Bailey was going to be racing the 4600 class. So that was super cool. And what's cool again about this sport is, after that unveiling and all the people got up and were checking out the Broncos and stuff. And I mean, Lauren Healy, Von Gittin Jr., Bailey Cole, Jason Scheer are up on stage, and then they jumped down and started talking to the fans, you know, and they're super approachable and everything. And
that's super cool.
It was cool. To see that. So, and then I wanted to go out wheeling again.
Right.
And so I said, hey, I got to go check out this King's Graveyard, a.k.a. Dead Blow deal. So Tom with the side-by-side, Brian with the side-by-side, of course our good buddy Dave with the side-by-side, we all roll out there. So they showed me where it was, and then they went off to go check out the big rock and stuff. Okay, I said, well, so Johnny and I took the buggy out there, and then I walked it. And it was a 3-beer hike. I only brought 1 beer.
Oh, boy.
So that was a bad misjudgment on my planning there. No beef jerky.
Dethroned from your PRO.
That was a total amateur move, rookie move. But anyways, I didn't have Fireball, so I'm graduated from all that stuff.
But taking a stripe away.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, walk up there, and it was a hike. I mean, some gnarly big ass boulders, and at times I had to stop and look and just like pick a path just to hike.
Oh wow!
I mean, it was that hard. And
you're walking,
and I'm walking, and I'm trying to visualize, if I was driving the buggy up this thing, or how you would negotiate this path. And I mean, it's crazy. And I turn the corner, and there's 4 vehicles, 4 buggies, and I'm like, all right, get to see some rock crawling action. And of course, one was all wadded up, hung up, and then he finally got through, and then they started climbing up, and it was impressive to watch them. The 2 of them were rear steer and 2 were drag axles.
Okay.
And so it was impressive to watch them negotiate. And they were, over 3/4 of the way up by the time I caught up with them. And so they were through the real gnarly, twisty, turny, crazy waterfall section. But they still had some serious wheeling to get out. And it was not dusk, but it was hour and a half before it was going to be dark. And so I said, okay, well, I'm this far, I got to walk all the way to the top. So I walked all the way to the top, and of course there was some people parked up there that were hiking down to check it out.
Okay.
Some of them were racers, some were just spectators like me. And then so I turned around and walked down. Now Johnny I left him like 2/3 of the way up. He punted. I don't know if he stopped and just took a break or a siesta or what, but I did. Yeah, apparently. So yes, it is true. It's true. So I go watching the rest of these guys go up and then start coming down, and then there was a couple more racers walking up to me, and we met at the really difficult section.
Is that where Cam Steele got all jacked up?
Right ahead of that is where he was all kind of jacked up. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were racers, and so I was asking them, hey, what lines you thinking? Oh, we're going to go here. Well, I wonder if we could go over here. So they were mapping it out, as a lot of racers did, because they didn't want to go beat up their junk in there before race day, but they did want to have some lines picked. But some of those rocks were moving just when I was walking on it, because it wasn't that bedded in of a trail.
Make sure you don't beat your junk before race day. That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's good words to live by. So it was fun. It took me, and I was moving. I didn't stop very much. I took some photos. I talked to those people, but I was kind of on the move the whole time. And it took me a good hour and 20 minutes to go all the way up and all the way down on foot.
How long is the trail?
God, that's a good question.
Mile?
No, not a mile. I always think of yards, right? So is it 500, 600, 700 yards?
On. That's it?
It's not very long.
It took you a freaking hour to walk?
It's steep. Well, I would have liked to seen your ass walk up that thing.
I would have died. I would have just curled up.
Yeah, you would have been way down at the bottom of the hill. It wasn't super long, but it's gnarly, dude.
Wow.
And so as I was going back down, I was, again, trying to visualize some lines, and it was serious stuff.
Would you drive it?
I would like to try. Yeah, I would like to try it.
Up or down?
I would go down.
Okay.
Because gravity always helps.
Yeah.
And but going up would be gnarly without a force steer. And I like I say, saw two rigs do it, and they had 40s on. I've got 43s, but I think they only had 40s, those drag axles, and they were getting hung up. I was watching them get hung up. But anyways, it is flat out gnarly. But it was great to get my eyes on it and see it, and then during the race, I could, oh shit, yeah, there they are. They're in that section. So
would you? Because I watched the race, the 4400 race on Saturday from home. I considered that, it was an equalizer, or maybe more than an equalizer, watching, because Cameron Steele went into that trail with a significant lead in the race.
He was kicking ass.
And that trail did him in.
It did. It did.
The vehicle didn't actually leave the trail until the next day.
Yeah, I know. And I heard Cody Wagner say that some guys volunteered from his team, or that he knows, to go camp out overnight so that parts didn't disappear off the car, because there's a lot of nice parts.
Well, yeah, I don't think that would have happened, but that's super cool, and but it's a good call to do that.
Yeah,
but but again, looking, kind of recap the race, second year in a row that a straight axle front end has won, the race. So I don't know. The IFS is compelling. It's super cool, and then of course the independent all the way around is super cool, and obviously great for the desert. But I don't know. You need to kind of figure out the durability situation on it still.
Well, it is, and there's just a lot of moving parts. But there's pros and cons. There's absolute pros and cons. But it's interesting, and it's. There's a lot of luck involved too, but the machine. You look on textbook. I still think that car, Cody Wagner's car, is the top of the top.
Well, of course it is.
It's got, obviously, money's no object, and they're trying to do something cutting edge.
They got a great driver. Yeah, great team. Yeah. So I'm sure they're going to podium. There's no question, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah.
Anyways,
so that's Wednesday.
A whole other podcast debating IFS or.
Well, we can get into that later, but
let's do it now. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's make this a 6-hour podcast.
We're
almost out of bourbon, so now let's move on.
Deep into
okay,
it. So that's Wednesday.
So Wednesday night was pizza night at camp.
I know. I wanted to be.
We had not one, not two, but 4 pizza ovens cranking.
You're supposed to go not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. You went not 1, not 2, but 4.
I'm trying to speed up this podcast here.
Oh, shit. There it is. Okay, so 4 pizza ovens were cranking away.
And that was Amber's pit meeting night.
Oh,
So they had their whole pit crew, did their pit meeting, and it's always, I've been involved with the pit meetings, helping out with, Art and Josh and them.
Sure.
But it was just cool to see them, go through that and what their day was going to entail and what you're doing, what everybody was assigned to do and all that. So and then the new rules this year for the pit crews and the fueling issues, nobody be touching the car while they're fueling, and you got to be in this fireproof suit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a new thing this year for them.
Okay.
So that was fun. Hearing about all that, and then we cranked out the pizzas. I got to guess we did like 30 plus pizzas that night.
Nice.
I know we did over 30 plus pizzas because they had like 15 in their pit crew, and then we had 20 plus in our group.
Good selection of toppings.
Holy hell, yeah, it was great. And then of course it never fails. I've cooked a lot of pizzas from my home pizza oven to camping, and it inevitably somebody puts way too much shit on their pizza, and it makes it too heavy, soggy, and it sticks, and toppings are going everywhere in the pizza oven, and it's just a nightmare. So
the cleanup crew, the little wiener dogs.
The dogs had a field day in there. I'll tell you that. But so I ended up purposely making a calzone for me at the end.
Nice,
and it turned out freaking delicious.
Calzone,
yeah.
I like those.
Dolly made all the dough.
Oh,
so Amber's mom made all the dough. It was great, and her sauce is so good too. And so that was fun. And then who showed up in our camp that night? Well, no, you don't know because you weren't there.
Well, don't you just stick it in a little farther there, that knife.
Danny Capri's son came into camp from the Mad Hatters. And he had his Capri Sun, and he was looking for Jack Daniels, and I'm like, I can't accommodate.
You should have handed him a Truly, or you don't have any Truly, or White Claw, or whatever. Really?
And then,
was he hanging out down with the boys down the hill?
I don't know. I don't know where he was camped, but he wandered into camp a few times, and I gave him so much crap. Yeah, he was. And then, the Truck Norris came in that day, outsaying Lee, outsaying
FJ40.
FJ40 came in, and then Tony, who I met for the first time. Tony has a badass electric bike. It's a dirt bike.
Electric?
Electric.
Really?
Oh, yeah, you didn't see that thing either. I mean, he had knobby tires on it, and I forget the name of it. It started with an S. But, dude, I'm like, I got to try that thing. And it was freaking badass.
Did you take it down to the TP?
I did. I didn't do a loop around the TP, but I did go down in there, and oh, my God. I was like,
really?
And it's got great suspension. He put Fox front forks on it. And
how fast did it go?
Dude, 30-something, maybe? Really? I don't know. It was fast enough to put a smile on my face. So, anything about 20, I got a smile on my face.
Jesus. Well, you're easy.
I am. The number's gotten lower as I've gotten older.
Right.
But anyways, it was a freaking blast to see that thing. So, as we got the generator for camp and stuff, and I'm like, dude, if you need to plug it in and charge this thing, just plug it in, So, and then, but wait, there's more people that showed up to camp that night.
Yep.
So, the crew from LGECTS.
Oh yeah.
I think I did that right. Teresa. Came into camp to see Amber.
Okay, that's the Bronco gal, right?
They're the ones, yes. So they have that shop down in Southern California, and they built that Bronco that we talked about before at the SEMA show a couple years ago for Jay Leno.
Right.
So it's LGE_CTS Motorsports, and they are so cool. The two sisters, and they wandered into camp looking for Amber, and I'm like, holy crap, because I've been interacting with them. I'm like, hey, we want to interview you. Well, then they were heading out after that, and of course, I was in no position to do any interviewing at that point.
No,
so yeah, that was late night Wednesday night.
Thought you were a PR professional.
I'll tell you, I try, but even I have my limits.
I know, right? 'Cause we've done some episodes where we've been pretty two sheets to the wind, and we have an episode we've never aired.
Yes, we do. We do. That will never see the light of day. Maybe the patrons will, but no, it was pretty bad. Oh, my gosh. So then Thursday, holy smokes, here we are. Now it's UTV day.
UTV?
Yeah, the UTV race, which is cool because there were Craig that was in our camp, part of the Mad Hatters. He was helping support a UTV team, so they were out at camp at O'Dark 100 to line up and go race, and then of course you got all your top drivers that are out racing.
Right? Levi and all.
Yeah, Laura, everybody, Bailey. I mean, they were all out there racing these side by sides. Shannon Campbell and his brand new Wonder Woman see-through invisible jet.
That's right.
Side by side.
Chrome titties.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then I Jimmy grabbed me for an interview with Dirt Life and Max Powell.
Right.
So that was cool to meet up with those guys. And did
he use our gear?
He did use our gear.
Did you charge him?
He had. No, we should, huh?
I think so.
We totally should. Now, what was I thinking? We got to help pay for this stuff. I mean, my gosh.
I mean, it's a rental fee. I mean, come on. It's like by the hour.
Yeah, so that was Nate at Dirt Life. Dirt Lifestyle Nate is what he is on the tubes there.
Okay.
He's got a huge YouTube channel.
Right.
And then Max Powell is there. So their interview just dropped today.
Yes, it did.
Ours is dropping tomorrow. Talking about them, so we'll probably feature that as one of our bonus episodes if I can talk Jimmy into the. He took all the audio from that, but it's Max MAXX. Period POWELL Max Powell.
Cool.
So interviewed those two guys, hung out with them, and that was cool to hear their stories. And they had just started kind of conversating 2 weeks prior to that event, and they want to do some collaborations together.
Okay.
And just a little bit that I learned about these two individuals, they're going to create some cool stuff. So
right on.
Look forward to that episode. You can go listen on Snail Trail if you'd like. If not, you can wait for it to come out on our channel.
Episode 190, I believe, on Snail Trail.
Is it 190? God, yeah. They're approaching 200. We're coming up on 100.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then it was just helping Amber.
Episode 170. It might be episode 170.
Oh yeah, that sounds more like it.
I think it's 170.
I think it was. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. 170.
190. I'm like, holy heck, that's quite the jump all of a sudden. I mean, 2 week.
Yeah, they were in the 160s, so it's 170. My mistake.
It is 170.
We try to be as accurate as possible on
episode 170. I was going to say, okay, good. So we still can catch up to them. So
right.
You're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance.
Okay,
maybe.
Oh my gosh. So Amber was finishing prepping up her car. We went out and watched some of the UTV stuff, and that was the weather was great that day too. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday couldn't ask for. Wednesday got a little windy. I will say that. That's right. Wednesday
Blame
was
it on me. I know
the windy day. But Thursday for the KOH UTV race was great.
I will say this: when I was after I left Barstow on Wednesday, I was heading 58, heading towards Tehachapi. The wind was blowing so hard head on into me that I was getting 8 miles to the gallon.
Really?
I was burning a shit ton of fuel.
Really?
I mean, I was doing fine speed-wise, but I was like, oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh.
I filled up when I got to Boron, and I'm like, wow, I took on a full load of fuel.
Yeah, it was. Because I was wearing my brand-new Ethos goggles. clear goggles that you helped facilitate for us.
Ethos Vision. Hashtag Ethos Vision. At Ethos Vision.
Thanks to Justin Hall that has had that sponsorship.
That's right.
So that was cool. And then, we went out, and I put the goggles on that day because just walking King's Graveyard.
What did you do? Did you get arrested?
I don't know.
King's Grave. Yeah, Ethos Vision.
Yeah, so Ethos Vision was awesome there. That's one of the disadvantages of recording outside next to a fire station. So, anyways, the fun things about recording a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so the weather was great, and UTV race going on and stuff. And I got to make mention here before I forget, is the Huntress was in our camp
That's right.
the whole week, which was fun.
Right.
So, we've interviewed her before. She was at Trail Hero.
Right.
And then showed up. She's like, well, yeah, I'm definitely going to be at KOH. So,
yeah.
And she helped document with her camera and on Amber's Instagram. She did an Instagram takeover for Amber's page during her race on Friday.
Right.
And then her friend, Jonathan, was also their photographer and helping get some killer shots.
Oh, he's a good photographer.
And I like, so since I started in this Instagram thing, and there's, there's people that just post crap, and then there's people that do a lot of thoughtful stuff and stuff. But check out Jonathan's page, especially if you're into photography. So his page is JONATHANHERRE. And you look at his page, and he links pictures together. So when you look at his whole profile, it's a story. Each row is a story, and it's super cool. So anyways, give him a follow. Of course, the Huntress, you got to follow her because she's on an adventure every freaking day of her life, and so jelly of that. But
her dog, Finn?
Yes, Finn. Finn is such... Yeah, so got to meet Finn.
Finn's cool.
Dude, what a mellow puppy.
Okay.
Well, I didn't bark.
No.
Didn't bark. Wasn't like begging for food.
Nope.
Wasn't drooling on you when you were eating. I was like, wow, this dog is very well behaved for a puppy.
Right.
It was a puppy, and it did puppy things.
Well, yeah,
but
it chewed on a lot of sticks and stuff.
But overall, what a great dog there.
Super cool. Yeah, for sure. So
I did get to do a rig walk around with Christina on the Huntress that day, and Jonathan filmed it. So I do want to, I'm no YouTube deal or anything, but I'm going to have to post it on YouTube because it's like a 20-plus minute ordeal. But it was pretty funny. We were drinking some Old Elk and doing a rig walk around. So
nice.
I haven't even watched the whole thing yet. I'm trying to go through all this stuff, and so look for that coming out in the future.
Too much content.
Oh, there is a ton of content, and it was a full-time job down there and fun. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
And again, we give till it hurts here on the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey podcast. So then, again, great dinner and stuff that night, and then we roll into. We did schnitzel that night, I think. Schnitzel and Spezzo.
Oh man, I wish I hadn't missed that.
God, that was so good, so good. So then we went into Friday. EMC, every man challenge, every woman challenge. Amber's team there, and exciting days because you get out there, and I love being out on. In Hammertown, I should say, and walking by every single vehicle. They line them up in all the different rows in Hammertown, and then go through, and dogs are going crazy. You're getting them all riled up, Chris. So I said, hey, let's go into Hammertown so you can walk through by everybody's vehicle, and you get to meet all the drivers.
Right.
Say hi, give them a fist pump. Thumbs up as you're walking by, which is great. So
that's one of the coolest times.
Yeah. So race started, and of course we watched everybody go off the line. And then we were watching from a couple different vantage points out on the course, and then watching from the big screen in camp of all the race action going on.
Yeehaw!
It was freaking great. So, unfortunately, Amber didn't finish. Unfortunately, D. Miller didn't finish. But I mean, they all put up a great effort. Ryder and the Ranger didn't finish, but that's KOH. The attrition rate is absolutely huge.
It's like 70%.
But our buddy in the 518 car,
Kevin Jones, Ultra 4 Jones,
ends up completing the race, doing really well, and finishing 11th.
Just missed the top 10
in his class. So and 20-something overall. 20-something overall. So, but incredible. I just so happy that he finished again and finished better than last year.
Yep.
And I mean, he proved that last year wasn't luck. It was it's because of all that race prep.
Well, hashtag race prep. Well, we've talked to him numerous times, and the listeners certainly have enjoyed, hopefully enjoyed his chats with us. But I mean, as I've said, the research that he does, the pre-race, the post-race analytics that he does, the prep on his car, all the things, that he thinks about that, I'm sure other racers do the same level of diligence, but I'm sure there's other racers that don't do the same level of diligence, and it shows. So
right.
If you just I'm going to just put the pedal to the metal and go. Well, I don't think that's quite the philosophy that works. I mean, because you have to, as we've always said, you have to kind of preserve the car.
Exactly.
So, know when to hammer down and know when not to hammer down, and know, where you are in the pack, if you will, and then adjust your strategy as you go.
Yep, for sure. And it has been, fun following his story and to see him cross the finish line and be part of that. It's great. They, in fact, the Trail Chasers just interviewed him.
That's right,
because he was on Nexon Tires, thanks to the Trail Chasers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Going to that event in Arizona, and met up. Got the contact, met up with the Nexon rep, and he got a better tire deal than he had before. And he's like, "Man, I can't pass this deal up." And I'm like, "No."
And the tires held up.
Yeah, and they said it on that podcast is because they're sponsored by Nexon, and it's like, hey, you put the same tires on your tow rig, his F-250, badass Ford pickup,
right?
Ford, Ford, Chris, spelled Ford.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, so had those same tires towing his rig down there as what he had on the race car to race because in that class, 4800 class, you got to have DOT tires. You can't have stickies or any of these crazy.
No, and 37s is the max size.
Yeah, so that's episode 163 on
Trail Chase.
On Trail Chase. Boy, we're putting. I hope people are taking notes because we got a lot of plugs going in.
I know, man. Shout out.
We better get some sponsorship money for these people,
right? God damn.
Or at least a bottle of bourbon or
Throwing
something.
It down.
Actually, Kevin did give us a bottle of Rod and Hammer's rye.
I know. I still need to enjoy
That's pretty good. Yeah, that was good. So, and then, of course, the other story we were following was EVE, the electric vehicle experiment.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And Kyle and his sister Dahlia. And
They finished.
And that was great. And so...
They won their class.
They won their class. They did win their class. And what was great is they were showing some preview stuff on the big screen prior to, which was awesome. And then here they come. They were following them all the way into Hammertown, and they came up on stage. And of course, everybody was ecstatic. It was just super cool.
I watched. I was watching the race at work and at home, and it was super cool.
So the timing was perfect because it was like, okay, Kevin Jones came in, and then so we got to hang out with him and greet him and welcome him back to Hammertown, if you will, and then. Justin Hall came in, and then EVE came in, and I was like, oh man, this is great. Get to see everybody right here within a hour plus time frame. Got to meet everybody. Welcome them back to Hammertown. So
yeah, it's cool. I wish I was there for that.
Yeah. So and then we went over to Tribe 16 tent afterwards. Unfortunately, Amber had to call the race and headed back in because it was just a log jam and they would have timed out
right
in the rock section. But yeah, I mean that was a long day just watching. I can't imagine being in the car racing and all the stuff that was going on out there on the course. I was in communication. I do have to defend myself here because I got Kevin Jones' channel and I was in our camp and I've got the 50 water ham radio in the buggy.
It's actually 65.
Oh, is it 65?
Yeah,
but 50 is illegal.
No,
right? I'm legal at 65? Okay, whatever. So it's cranked. It does great. So I was talking to Seth, who is Kevin's crew chief.
Right.
And he goes by Shirtless Farmer. Right. And there's a whole story behind that, which is great.
Right.
So then talking to, Kevin Jones, well, of course, in the race car, it's loud and they got their headsets on and stuff, but their audio comes through pretty broken up, even though it's quote unquote good and clear communication via ham, but it's there's a lot of background noise and stuff going on.
So
and then so I could hear Seth crystal clear, and we had good communication. Well, at one point, Kevin asked me because I had direct contact with them, and I go, hey, he goes, what position am I in? And so I looked on the app, and the app this year sucked.
Oh, did it?
Absolutely fucking sucked.
Oh, boy, the F-bomb for the first time.
Dude, it was frustrating because I was there and the yellow brick that they had before, and I know they had timing issues with the yellow brick, but for whatever reason, it worked really good through the app on the phone. The yellow brick did, the YAPP app years before, and you could follow your drivers easily and see where they're at on course, and this thing was so, I mean, there was one point, and I called out to Seth, and I'm like, dude, Kevin hasn't moved in like 20 minutes. I'm like, is he broken? What's going on? I don't, this isn't good. And then all of a sudden he started moving again. Well, it lost communication.
Oh, that was when they were in Cougar Buttes?
I don't know. It wasn't. They were way out of Cougar Buttes. But anyway, so Kevin goes, he's getting frustrated with me because I'm trying to look on the phone and it's not updating. I'm waiting for it to update.
I noticed that a few times.
And he dropped the F-bomb. He goes, I just want to fucking know the position I'm in. And I'm like, okay, you're in 25th right now. All right, cool, thanks. But he was in the heat of the moment, stuck in Sledge. I think he was off in Sledgehammer. And there was a huge traffic jam over there. But it was hilarious. But they talk about that on the Trail Chasers podcast somewhere at the 34-minute mark or something in there.
Something like that.
And then, was it Jose or somebody calls me out and says that I'm like balls deep in Old Elk?
Balls deep in Old Elk.
I only had a few beers at that point of the day. I was not into the bourbon at that point of the day.
But
so
one of the other guys on the show is like, I usually drink mine.
Yeah, I usually drink mine. That's great. That was Cody.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Am I doing it wrong? So, yeah, it was pretty funny. But anyway, I wish those guys were out there so we could hang out with them and really show them a good time out four-wheeling.
Yep.
So, anyways, that was, I just got to defend myself there. When we have Kevin on next time, we'll have to talk more in detail about that.
For sure.
So then everybody came in safe and sound. Luckily, no injuries. Cars were under their own power.
Yep.
And, boom, then it was celebration time. And
celebrate.
No. Don't want to hear it. No. So then we were partying pretty good in camp that night because everybody could relax. That was long year rolling up to that one race day that you're preparing for, and then of course Hammertown was alive and well. All of the camps around Hammers just lights up that night, literally.
Sure.
The huge fires. Cody Wagner had some ginormous fire going on. And then
I saw it from here.
Yeah, you probably could. You see it from Livermore, California. And then the fireworks shows were just incredible. I mean, professional grade A mortars just flying up in the air. But so I gotta say another shout out to the Total Off-Road podcast. So Steve That's there. Steve and Ian. And I'm like, okay, these guys they got a good podcast. They're funny. But Jimmy was talking to him around the campfire the night before.
Okay.
And unbeknownst to me, they did this pour with Old Elk. So it looked like Steve in Illinois was pouring, Old Elk whiskey because Jimmy was holding out his glass.
Right.
And of course, we had somebody in our camp pouring it. And so anyways, he's like this tic-tac wizard and hashed all this stuff together. And so it looked like he was pouring from Illinois to Jimmy.
Cool.
At the Hammers. And so I saw it the next day on IG, and I'm like, well, no, dude, what the hell? This just happened in our camp last night. I didn't know what they were doing. And so I said, dude, give me Steve's number. I said, I got to do this tonight, with Steve. So I called him up, or Jimmy called him up and says, hey, could you, do that? Hey, hell yeah, get him. Let's just pour it up, and then I'll make it work. So he did that, and I posted it. So it was just a story, but I will turn it in. I'll repost it as so it's permanently on our main page.
No,
but
cool.
It's free. I think I saved it under the Old Elk highlight tab, but it is freaking great.
That's cool. Those are definitely creative and fun.
Yeah. Okay, and then boom, we go into Friday morning. Saturday. I'm always confused because it's normally Friday. So Saturday now is the 4400.
The big dogs.
Unlimited class. Holy heck.
Big dogs.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. So we ended up, again, getting into Hammertown early at 7 a.m., all the cars are lining up, and the smell of burning alcohol in the morning. Oh, so good.
Nice.
And then they're warming up their cars, and they run that 250 weight oil in the axle. So it's freaking honey. It's worse than honey.
Yeah.
And so they're running. I saw electric blankets. I saw propane heaters on them. Forced air heaters. Of course, they got them up on jack stands and just idling and running the gears just to create some heat.
Right.
So the cars are ready to go and not glued. The ring and pinion aren't glued together.
Right.
Even the start line. Again, you're walking past all these killer, cars and drivers that, your favorite drivers that you follow and everything. And
they're all
you can see them. Yeah, you
mode.
can see their face, their eyes, they're in race mode, but there's still the drivers like Shannon. I mean, you just walk right up to the car and give him a thumbs up, and he smiles and thumbs up back at you. I mean, he's an old veteran. And then there's other guys that you could tell are just freaking crazy nervous and just focused,
Right.
They're talking with their crew chiefs and, whoever, or their spouse, and just trying to stay calm and get to that start line and get a good start.
Yeah.
So got a ton of footage, of the racers leaving the line, and that is so exciting. Had the media vest, and it was great. So I was able to get into some of the inside areas and watch.
You weren't able to go to the start-finish line.
No, I wasn't. Maybe. So anyways, got some great video from that.
Okay.
And then went over as the race started, and everybody was gone from Hammertown. All the racers were out on course. Then we were, checking out Hammertown, went back to camp, watching it on the live feed. Again, it was so great to have that. And then iRate 4x4. So Austin from iRate 4x4.
Sure.
The new Pirate Forum, dropped the P, became iRate.
Right.
So almost everybody that was on Pirate, all the key players there, have migrated over to iRate 4x4, this new forum. And it's really cool. Go check it out. We ended up interviewing him, Jimmy and I did, from Snail Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this killer Unimog, and you can hear about it in that bonus episode that's going to come out Thursday this week.
Yeah.
And that's going to wrap up our KOH content there.
That's the Easter egg right there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's bittersweet because this is the day to start cleaning up camp.
Oh, boy.
Because once the main race is done, it's time to get the heck off that lake bed.
Yeah, but the Saturday night's still a party night. I mean, when you bust down all you got to burn the last of the firewood.
And we did.
And you take the tents down, you pack everything up, you eat leftovers, right?
We did.
And the fireworks shows and the couches and whatever was brought out there all gets burned.
Yeah, we actually had some good dogs and sausages, too, that were, everybody's just cleaning out their campers, and it was some good chow. But Kitchen Stadium was broken down, and, we're just like really roughing it. We had like a little tiny table with a Weber sitting on it. It was like a third world country at that point after what we had earlier in the week. But
thinking about last year when the last night with Dan and the gang from Utah was cooking dinner, and the tent was gone, and they still put together a killer dinner with the minimum of kitchen.
Yes,
so, I know what that's all about. Yeah,
for sure. But anyways, yeah, so it was cleanup time, and I was a little remiss, and we're going to have to do an interview with Climax Off-Road.
Okay.
So Max, he was out there in the Ruxor.
Okay.
And his buddy Adam, guy named Red, because he red-haired, had a big red beard. They call him Red. I don't know what his real name is. But those guys are cool, and I want to get them on the podcast and hear their story. They came from Maryland.
Oh, shit.
So they had quite a haul. Quite a haul, and they I don't know but anyways, they knew Amber, and Amber's like, yeah, come camp with us, which was awesome. Cool. So they had their crew in our camp, and that was his very first time racing at the Hammers.
Oh boy.
And the whole Ruxor thing, it was supposed to be, they were going to sponsor him and the whole thing. Jesse Haynes drove his last year. Well, then there was that big old lawsuit with Jeep, and who knows how all that worked out, but it ended up where he didn't get sponsorship, and sucks. Okay, so then then it was like pack up, and I was sad, and damn it, Bobby, gotta leave the lake bed and get back to reality.
Goddamn Boone Road.
We drank some of this Crater Lake rye tonight.
Yes, we did.
And this was Matt, who is the 87 _super SUPER _ Zook.
Yes. He's the one that
ZUK, and he's on IG.
Right.
That's his IG handle.
He's the one that loaned Amber the Springs.
Yeah. And so he was camped next to us, and he brought over this Rock and Rye.
Yes.
Rye whiskey.
Rye whiskey. Oh
my God, it's getting late. This is like our longest podcast ever. Here we go. But it's rye whiskey, dark cherry, and then it's got this blood orange, and then it's homemade bitters from this Crater Lake distillery.
Didn't suck.
And it was actually really. It was like a Manhattan.
Yeah, no, it's a pre-made Manhattan.
It's like a Manhattan old fashioned esque and really good. So he gave me a what was left in the bottle, and then Jack got a hold of it, and it was almost gone. And I'm like, whoa! I got to bring this home for Chris and I to try on the podcast. So that's what we drank earlier today, and it was actually a nice opener to the whiskey tasting tonight.
And it's a dead soldier too.
It is. And then he also gave us this Crater Lake Reposado agave, it's tequila. But we will try that later. But it is made in the barrels that this rye is made in. So that's what's sending off that nice color there. That Reposado.
I like a good tequila.
So thank you, Matt, for the gifts here.
Yeah, and thanks for loaning your springs to Amber.
Yeah,
Super cool.
That's great. Let's see who else. Had Travis from Califab in Sacramento running the camp. He needed a grinder. He some U-joint got all. He had to cut the yoke or something. He's all, dude, do you have a cut off wheel, grinder? And I'm like, yeah, I got my DeWalt stuff right here. So he was camped right next to us. So
good.
It was cool to meet him. Hooked him up with a bunch of schwag.
Nice.
And then so when Johnny and I went out Saturday. As the race was going on, and we timed it absolutely perfect. We went over to Chocolate Thunder, and then her problem, idle issues right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big cluster Unfortunately, Edwin Abd was on his side. Arturo Tire sponsored car. I mean, he was literally on his side, and I guess a couple cars did some damage driving over him, trying to get around him.
Sure.
I mean, it's racing, and then there was a couple other crazy lines through the rocks that like Gomez went through and just blasted through no problem, and the Wicks were there.
Right.
Saw Cameron Steele come through. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, we timed this perfect to see all this shit show go down. So I pull up in the buggy, and then Weld's Taco comes over. So from Instagram, Robert. And I'm like, oh, cool, finally get to meet you, and hooked him up with some koozies. And then there was Alex, Alfonso, and Scott. Scott Stearns raced in the 4400 class last year. So anyways, it's cool that the buggy's getting recognized or synonymous with our podcast, and get out to public events like that. And, I always have stickers in there. But, now I'm carrying koozies, so I was handing those out.
And
the Old Elka whiskey balls. So thanks, guys, for stopping by and saying hi and getting to meet you. And then also Rob Scott and Christine from the Gadzooks four-wheelers out of Rancho Cucamonga, so down south there. Mm-hmm. So hook them up with a bunch of schwag.
Nice.
And then, on the way home Sunday, stopped again at that Loves in Tehachapi.
All right.
The Tehachapis. So it's a good stop. Grabbed another Subway sandwich and topped off the truck. And then met Daniel, Jeff, and Justin there. They're out of San Jose.
Oh, good.
So they were heading back, and also hooked them up with schwag. So anyways, met a ton of people. If I missed your name, I am so sorry. I tried to put everything down on my phone. A ton of shout-outs here. Met a ton of people. That's been one of the greatest things of this podcast was getting to go to these events and have a reason to interview some of these these drivers and get involved with their race programs and get in depth, and then the people that like to listen to us ramble on for 2 hours about the final KOH wrap up here. But
this is a long episode.
It is. So I'm sure it's taken. I don't know if anybody listened to it straight. If you did, congratulations. Write us and I'll send you a sticker.
That's right. We're running out of stickers.
I got to figure out a way to send the koozies. We got them online. We've got some neck gaiters online that Johnny hooked up.
Go to our merch store.
He's got some of those. He's got the beanies and of course the shirts and sweatshirts and everything.
Those are killer, man.
Yeah. So let's wrap this thing up.
Put a bow on it.
Put a bow on it. Go sign up for that Element double Element giveaway with the Hussman homemade, custom built, badass Element fire extinguisher holders.
Right.
Mounts, and then of course you can hit us up on the emails and the IGs there, and reach out and touch someone.
Just not too hard.
Stay within 6 feet.
That's right. And on that note, we're out.